Hi, this is Kathy from Craft with Kathy. Thanks for joining me. Today's project is going to be using the Santa Please Stop Here transfer on our 10-inch hexagon chalkboard. These boards are on sale through November 24th at 20% off. I think this fits kind of nicely on here, and while it's not an octagon, it still gives the image of a stop sign or the impression of a stop sign, and that's why I'm going to use this transfer on this particular board. The transfer actually has a second piece that gets overlaid over the word stop to do an accent. I'm going to actually do my lettering, excuse me, in a shimmer red, and then I'm going to use the shimmer silver to accent the word stop. There are some additional pieces to this transfer. There's some snowflakes and a star, but I don't think I'm going to be using them this time. So let's get started. I'm going to fuzz my transfer so that it's not quite as sticky when I lay it down on my chalkboard. And to do that, all I do is place the transfer on my fuzzing cloth to pick up some lint and then lift it up a couple times so it's not quite as sticky. And I have another fuzzing cloth underneath my hexagon board so that it doesn't move around on my glass mat. This seems like it should be fine now. Okay, let's see. I think that's probably about right. Let's make sure the word here is not off the board. I think I need to straighten this a teensy bit. And I'm smoothing it out to make sure there are no air bubbles. Our silk screens are made out of vinyl. Our transfers are made out of vinyl and silk screen. Oh my goodness. Long day, what could I say? And I want to make sure that it's laying flat when I apply my chalk paste. This is my shimmer red. And I want to make sure it's the appropriate consistency. This looks pretty good. The shimmer pastes have a little bit more of a whipped feel to them. They are absolutely beautiful. And this is my shimmer silver. Ooh, this looks like it might need to be thinned down. I'm not quite sure. A little hard on the edge, but the center's soft. I need to clean this up at some point and wipe this down and mix it in. For right now, I'm not going to do that. I just need to use a little bit of this paste anyway for the accent, so I think that'll work fine as is. Oops, I got a little paste on my transfer. A little crumb fell off. More than a little crumb, okay? A couple little crumbs there, okay. All cleaned off. So, I'm going to apply my red, my shimmer red paste, and then use a larger squeegee to actually spread it across the silk screen portion of the transfer. I want to go back over removing any possible lines. Make sure I have adequate coverage. I need a little bit more paste here. Making sure it's gone through the silk screen and that I'm not leaving any lines. Looking good. This is pretty quick. As you can see, this is a rather straightforward, simple transfer. A little bit of paste goes a long way. And then when I'm done, and I'm sure I have everything covered here, I'm going to return any excess paste to my jar. Looks like I'm a little light right there. I'll take another, see it like that. Okay. I'm going to look at this. It looks like I might have had a little air bubble there. I did, right up here. Oops, nope. Not an air bubble. I just actually missed it. I could see it now. Didn't see it with the lighting. Okay, let's see how this looks. When I pull off the transfer, I want to lift top to bottom or left to right. I never want to pull it on a diagonal, as that could actually cause the transfer to stretch. And I missed another little thing at the bottom of the P right here. Let me go back and get that. That looks like I missed a little bit on the top of it. Okay. No harm, no foul here. Still missing a little bit right up in the top corner. Add a little chalk paste right there. There, looks much, much better. Oops. And I missed a little bit on the E, boy. Okay. Excellent. I think that looks pretty nice. Let me move this into a water bath. For cleanup. And I've actually gotten a little chalk paste on my fingers. Let me clean that up a little bit. Our paste goes on soft, kind of like a yogurt or a sour cream consistency. But when it dries hard. Now, before I could add my accent to this and highlight the word stop, I need to let the chalk paste dry. Otherwise, if I put it on while it's still wet, I run the risk of actually smearing this chalk paste or lifting it up when I apply the second color. Let me show you our hex boards. These are 10-inch hex boards. This was a size B transfer, which generally fits on like a 9x12. This is a little bit smaller because it's the 10-inch, but it fit well on here. And our back of our board actually comes with a sawtooth hanger. The only thing you need to do is make sure that that hanger is at the top of your project when you start it. And basically that's it. It's pretty simple and straightforward. Because this is our chalkboard, this can be reused. So once this design is finished and I display it for the holidays, if I decide I want to replace this with maybe something appropriate for Valentine's Day, all I need to do is spritz it with a little bit of water and wipe it down with a paper towel, and that cleans it up. Some of our pastes may leave a slight ghosting because of the deep pigment of the paste. And when that happens, all you need to use is one of our board erasers. And that will clean up any ghosting. It also cleans up ghosting or anything on our transfers also, because our transfers can become slightly stained from the deep pigment also. And the chalk, the erasers work well on removing that. The pigment actually does not harm the transfers at all. It's fine, it doesn't matter. It works fine even if it is stained, but if you don't like it looking stained, then you can use the eraser to remove it. I'm trying to see if this is fully dry yet. I don't think it's quite ready. You could actually see when the paste starts to dry a little bit. It gets a little bit darker in color usually, and it's kind of hard to tell with the shimmer here, and I'm hesitant to touch it to test it out. So let's check out one other thing. The next project is going to be using this cute little transfer. It's the Elf Made Me Do It, and I have some excellent ideas for this one. I'm going to be using a couple different surfaces. Here I'm using chalkboard. I might actually even do it on a hex and maybe only use the text or whatever. One of my projects is going to have me using canvas. And then I just, of course, am not going to be able to resist not putting this on a t-shirt. Now, if you're using something like fabric, the canvas is fine using chalk paste, but when I get to the point of putting this on a t-shirt, I'm actually going to be using our inks. And our inks come in much the same colors of our chalk paste, not quite as many varieties though. We do have the ink in our shimmers, not the red, just the silver, gold, and the bronze. But anyway, any fabric, you apply the ink in much the same manner that I did, using the same kind of transfer. You don't need a special transfer for ink. Transfers can be used with chalk or with ink. And after you apply the ink and let it dry, then you heat set with an iron or with a heat press. And anytime you're using ink, you could use it on fabric, you could use it on glass, you can use it on metal. But you always need to heat set it. So if for example, I wanted to use ink on a coffee mug, I would heat set it in an oven. Some people actually use the small ovens instead of their main oven, because you are playing around with metal or with glass or whatever, and maybe you don't want to use that same oven for cooking your food in or whatever. Anyway, so look for this, the Elf Made Me Do It, coming soon. And I'm also open to any ideas anyone has for this. I just think this is so cute. I'm getting some little feet and going to add it to one of my boards as opposed to actually chalking the feet or the hat. I think I'm going to just add some fabric ones or whatever. I don't know. I've got a bunch of ideas, so this one's going to be pretty cool. And I'm going to show a couple different ways that it can be used. There's so many new transfers for the holidays. It's been difficult for me to actually decide what I'm doing first. So let me lift this out of the way. I'm going to fuzz the second layer of this transfer. As you can see, there's really not much to this project. It's very simple and straightforward. I'm not pressing down until I know I have it lined up where I want it. And I think I'm, oops, almost there. I'm going to line up this little empty space in the S and get the top one lined up with it too and see how that goes. There, I think that's about right. No harm, no foul. If it doesn't work, I'll just erase it and do it over. So, I'm using my silver shimmer paste. Ooh, and this is actually another part to this transfer. I missed cutting that off actually when I cut the transfer apart. I'm not going to chalk that, don't need to. Okay, no air bubbles, we should be okay there. I want to make sure I get good coverage here and do not go off the transfer on the board, or I'll have to do a little bit of cleanup like I did the other day. And make sure I have all the silk screen covered. I think that looks good. And let's just remove any lines, remove any excess, chalk paste. And put it back in the jar. Put this in a water bath. Voila! What do you think? Quick and easy. Thank you for watching. Have a wonderful life.